Nihao, motherfuckers! You already see the first slide. You already see the title of the video. Let's go. Today, we're going to be looking at mind games. Tekken mind games. The psyops. The game within the game. The game in the mind. Okay? This is actually the most, I think, not only the most important part of fighting games, but also the most interesting part of fighting games. And it's the part that when you first start playing, you're not really there, but you start to unlock it as you get more and more experience. And it's especially prevalent when you're playing against someone of similar skill to you, right? So, hey, guys in the chat, simmer down, yeah? In the class, background. Hey, you, Megasphere, how many times am I going to tell you? No chewing in class every time. It's always you. Simmer down, okay? But anyway, let's talk about it. Mind game. So, let us be Socratic for a minute. Let us be philosophers, yo. Shout out to my nigga Socrates, all right? Shout out to Socrates. Let's be philosophical. Let us define our terms. What are mind games? What are mind games? Chat? Clap? Any thoughts? What are mind games? Any suggestions? Let me hear them. What are mind games? If you're going to give me a Oxford Dictionary definition of mind games, what are they? Mind games is when I 6'6" your ass when you try to grab. Damn! I mean, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. Virtua Fighter. If you watch me and aggressive, our war in Virtua Fighter, you know exactly what it is. I go for the grab, you go for the strike. It is what it is. Alright. Whiff into reversal. You hate to see it. Okay, what are mind games? Alright, let's banter. What are mind games? So let's try and break it down. Is a coin flip a mind game? Real question. Is a coin flip a mind game? Yes or no? What do we think, chat? Is a coin flip a mind game? Head or tail? Is that a mind game? Do you feel that's a mind game? Yes or no? I'll take either answer, right? Yes, Megasphere says yes. It's a mind game. Not at all. No. If conditioned, yes. Okay. KSRD is where I'm going with this. Right? If conditioned, yes. Aggressive says yes. Okay, cool. So we're hearing both. Doc Avis says yes. First time chatter, welcome player. Pierre says yes. Also, what up? What up, KSRD? I see you. Safe option versus risky option. Cool. Is a coin flip a mind game? For me personally, I don't think a coin flip is a mind game. So if we have a different definition of what a mind game is, then the rest of this talk might not make sense. But personally, I don't think it's a mind game. And the reason I don't think it's a mind game is because the truth is, whether I'm playing against you, KSRD, or Aggressive Pixels, or Hades, my choices are kind of binary, and the weighting of them is kind of irrelevant to you, because it's a 50-50, right? The only way it's a mind game for me is if you have previously demonstrated a proclivity towards heads or towards tails. So for me, I would say no, right? But it's worth discussing, okay? What about rock, paper, scissors? Is rock, paper, scissors a mind game? Yes or no? Let's hear it. Rock, paper, scissors. Is that a mind game? Yes or no? %. Okay, so KSRD says 100% yes. Okay, Megasphere says yes. Interesting. Megasphere says yes. I want to hear what more people say. A couple more answers, and I'll move on. Brit Bro says no. Okay. PS says no. Oh, PS says yes. Okay, I think so. So, here's my answer. Again, this is not the answer. Doc Ivan says yes. Here's my answer. It's not the answer, it's my answer. I actually think the answer is no. The reason I say that is again similar to the coin flip. I don't really think that my answer is based on data that is coming from you. But at the same time, I can understand why pretty much everyone said yes. Because at a certain point, I am trying to figure out, hey, do I think you'll do rock? In which case, I'll do paper, right? Do I think you'll do scissors? In which case, I'll do rock. So in a sense, you could say that RPS is 100% a mind game. But for me, I don't know that it is. But what I will say is this. Rock, paper, scissors is definitely more of a mind game than 50-50 coin flip, right? Because there is more data from my opponent, right? I am, in some sense, trying to circumvent your choice. What up, Jerbear? Right? So for me, I don't necessarily think it's a mind game, but I do see it as more of a mind game. Now, here's a question, okay? Here's where I think it does become a mind game. Let's say you and I are going to play rock, paper, scissors, but we're going to play 3 times. Whoever gets 3 points wins first. But we're going to add a stipulation, okay? If one player uses rock and the other player uses paper to beat rock, the player who used paper to beat rock gets 2 points, okay? For me, personally, the addition of this extra layer of complexity turns this into a mind game. Because I'm not just picking between 3 finite data points. I'm also trying to figure out, what kind of man are you? What kind of man are you, right? Are you willing to take the risk, right? Because now we've turned rock into a very risky option, right? Rock is, like, mathematically, if you're a computer, like the worst option because you lose more for going for rock. But you know that I know this, right? You know that I know this. So you're going to be like, what kind of man is Chad? Is Chad the safe conservative type who's going to stay away from rock because he knows it's the weakest option mathematically? Therefore, he's going to go for scissors. But if I'm confident he's going to go for scissors, then maybe I should go for rock. Specifically because I know he's trying to dodge the risk that rock provides, right? My point is, this additional factor to me is what turns into a mind game. Because we're not just dealing with data points in a game. We're dealing with data points in a game plus the psychology of the people playing the game. You get what I'm saying? This is like the key, the crux of the rest of my talk. So if what I've said, you don't agree with what I've said, then the rest of this talk is gonna, turn it off now, it's not gonna work for you. But for me, I believe that the mind game element is when it's not just about the data of the choice, but the psychology of the chooser. The more that the chooser's psychology is implemented, the more of a mind game it becomes, right? So yeah, personality to me impacts choice. Britt Brov says Chad is safe and conservative. Depends on the game, but a lot of the time, yes, I am. Honest, you're late. Fuck, honest. You promised me you wouldn't be late. You know what? I haven't got time for this. Back of the class, okay? All right. So personality impacts the choice. This is the key, the crux of what I'm about to say going forward, okay? So, let's play Pokemon, right? So Pokemon, to me, I love competitive Pokemon. Like, not only do I like trading card games, I loved Pokemon. Back in Gen 4, so this is Diamond and Pearl, I played Pokemon religiously. And Pokemon, especially competitive Pokemon, is actually complete mind game, okay? Let's walk through it. I have a Pokemon called Jolteon. Those of you, you should know what Jolteon is. Electric type, hella fast, okay? You have a Pokemon called Gyarados, okay? It's a flying water type. So, I have the advantage over you, okay? I have the advantage. Because my typing is electric, your typing is water and flying. If I hit you with electricity, you die, right? So, exactly, times 4 damage. Genius knows what's up. So, you should switch out, right? I have the advantage and I'm faster, so I'm gonna go first. So you should switch out. The correct move to do is to switch out. We're done, easy. Here's the problem though. Electivire. I know that you have a Pokemon in the back called Electivire. An Electivire is an electric type that when it gets hit by an electric move, it speeds up, it gets faster. Not only does it take 0 damage, it takes 0 damage, it actually gets, you power it up. So now I have an additional layer of complexity. Do I do the safe, smart choice, which is use my electric attack against your Pokemon who's weak to electricity? But if that's the safe choice, if that's the choice that I think you're going to do, then there's a good chance that you're going to switch him out, right? And if I know you're going to switch him out, then you know what? Maybe I shouldn't do it. Maybe I shouldn't go for the electric move. Maybe that's too predictable. But then again, maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe I'm overthinking it. What if you don't switch out? And instead of going for the electric move, I go for Shadow Ball or something, and it fails to kill you. And then you do fucking Earthquake, and you kill me. I'm gonna feel like a dick. I had the chance to take you out, but I overthought it. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the nature of mind games, and why Pokemon is so much fun. Because the options seldom seem super clear and obvious. Sometimes you gotta take risks. I'm not really thinking about just the data on screen. I'm really thinking about what I think you're gonna do. And it's risk versus momentum, again. Because like I said, how do I put this? It really comes down to what kind of person I am. What am I gonna favor? Am I gonna favor taking the safe conservative option, which is just do the electric move on your Gyarados, and if you switch out, we can deal with that? Or am I willing to forego the opportunity in front of me for a potential greater gain later on? Or let me put it another way. This is perhaps the most important way, right? I keep saying it, but what kind of man are you, right? Are you the kind of person who's willing to forego the opportunities of the present in search of possible greater momentum in the future? Or are you the kind of person who takes the doors when they open? Right? I got too confusing at length for me. I have no idea. Anyway, point is, I feel that in Pokemon, you really get to express a lot of your personality. You can learn a lot about your opponent from the choices that they make. Is your opponent too smart for his own good? Do you know what I mean? Or will he just do the safe conservative thing? This to me is the essence of all competitive games, not just Pokemon. And the truth is, the game isn't really what's on screen, okay? The game isn't about like the pixels on screen, the sounds that are happening on screen, the colors, the animation. Fuck that. It's not about that. That shit is completely irrelevant, right? The real game is what's going on in my head and what's going on in your head, right? The real game takes place in our heads. And this is an important fact going forward, right? It's all about what happens in our respective heads. And this is the thing a lot of, I think, players don't really understand. Okay, like the real game isn't happening on screen. In any competitive game, the real game is happening in our respective heads. And so for me, a really good competitive game is a game that allows player expression of who you are. Like I said, like the soul of the player. Okay. So for example, I'm going to go through certain types of players, and I want to know which of these. Let me know in the chat if they appeal to you, if they speak to you. Because, like, you know, people often like things like the Harry Potter sorting hat. Are you a Gryffindor? Or are you a Ravenclaw? Are you a Slytherin, right? Everyone tends to, like, identify with certain archetypes. Because even though we're all unique, we all have tendencies that we've recognized in either fictional characters or in other types of people. And a great competitive game will typically allow you to express yourself in multiple ways and to collide and conflict, depending on your style. So let's go through some of them that are really common in fighting games, okay? Conservative. The conservative player plays the numbers. If I'm +2, I'm only going to do an 11 frame move, if that, okay? I'm not going to take the big risk. I'm not going to take the move that's -15 unless I visually confirm that you've whiffed something, right? People who play very conservative. We've all played those kind of people. We've all met those kind of people, right? Conservative style. Nothing wrong with it. Play it by the numbers. Very safe. Very steady, okay? Nothing wrong with it. Then you got the Mad Dogs. The Mad Dogs. We've all encountered the Mad Dogs. The Unga Bungas. The Mexican Akumas. For those of you that don't know that term, Eris was the first one I heard use it, but apparently it was like a SoCal thing. Like, you know, you have a fucking fry cook, you know, works in a Chinese restaurant. He's on break, so he goes to the arcade machine to play some Street Fighter Third Strike, right? And he just starts playing. Bah, 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 bah. The motherfucker's only got 30 minutes. That's the thing. He's only got 30 minutes. He doesn't have time. He doesn't have time to do this conservative shit. Ooh, I'm gonna whiff punish. I'm going in. Whether I win quick or lose quick, it needs to happen quick. So I got 30 minutes, all right? Mad Dog style, Mexican Akuma. You love it. We've all seen it. We've all played it. And you know what? It works sometimes. Some of your favorite players are Mexican Akumas. I ain't gonna lie. It's fun to watch them. Fun to watch people go unga bunga. I'm not gonna lie. Sucks to deal with, but it's a valid style, okay? And the match between the conservative player and the Mad Dog player can be a lot of fun to watch, okay? Then you got assholes. Ladies and gentlemen, let's be real. We have all fought against someone who we think to ourselves, this guy plays like an asshole. What up, Dark Havers? We've all played that. Aggressive Pixel, you are an asshole. That is correct. You are an asshole, Aggressive Pixel. That is you, right? We've all played against someone who's like, this motherfucker's an asshole. This motherfucker plays like an asshole. I was showing one clip. I was showing some of the guys, a Josie player I was playing before, and this motherfucker would do this like low kick. It doesn't do much damage. Doesn't even give you much plus points. But he just hit me with it. Bah, 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 over and over and over again. And like you can tell that it's not just a tactical choice, it's a psychological choice. He's trying to get to me, trying to get on my nerves. And I get hit by 2 of them, 3 of them, 4 of them, 7 of them. And I go, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna crouch. And what does he do? He hop kicks me. He sends me to Valhalla, and I'm like, you son of a bitch. I hate you, right? Or what about those people who just grab you? Run up and grab you. Oh, you can't break throws? Run up and grab you. Can't break throws? Run up and grab you. I'm just gonna do it. Just gonna do it. Just gonna do it. It's like, you're kind of an asshole. I mean, it works. I get it. You're kind of an asshole. And sometimes you break the throws. You're just doing it to get annoying. Like asshole players, it's a valid playstyle, right? And certain characters are specialized in this. Lucky Chloe was made for assholes. Lucky Chloe was made for assholes. The character was designed. That's me though. Just break the throw, please. And there you go. Again, it's a valid playstyle. I'm not complaining about it in the sense like it shouldn't exist. It exists, but it's a type of player. It's a type of way of going for it. Lucky Chloe for Tekken 8, please no. Lol, I'm the asshole thrower. That's you, Tom. That's it. But sometimes we've all been. It doesn't even matter the fighting game. Street Fighter, Tekken, Soul Calibur, Virtua Fighter, whatever. We've all played a game and be like, this guy plays like an asshole. He plays like a fucking asshole, right? Then you have the Saboteur. This is me. This is my style, okay? What does the Saboteur want to do? The Saboteur, I don't want to kill you. I want you to kill yourself. I like setting up traps. I'll give you an example. One of my favorite moves in Pokemon. It's not that strong a move. It's not a competitively viable move. But one of my favorite moves in Pokemon is a move called Yawn. What does Yawn do? My Pokemon yawns, and your Pokemon hears it. Your Pokemon gets drowsy. So now you know you have two options. You can either stay in and fall asleep, or you can switch out and then not fall asleep. So even though the move Yawn has not really done anything to you immediately, what it has done is it's put you on a clock. It's put you in a tough spot. And I love that. I love doing moves that just put you in a tricky position. Another move is from a game called not Dragon Age, a game called Guild Wars. Guild Wars had a class called the Mesmer. Okay? I think I've spoken about this in another video. But they had this ability called backcast. I put this hex on you. Every time you cast a spell, you take some damage. So you put this spell on the healer. And so now they're in a tough spot. My job is to heal. But every time I cast a healing spell, I take damage. What the fuck do I do? Do I slow down? But if I slow down, then I'm no longer healing that well. Do I ignore it? Well, if I ignore it, then I'm actually increasing the amount of damage I'm taking. And then I have to choose between healing myself or healing the opponent. Stuff like this, I'll live for. I live for this. Okay? I live for putting my opponents in tricky situations. Because while their brain and their mental RAM is trying to deal with this shit, I can hit them with the real shit. Okay? Asuka's down 2 in fighting games, or in Tekken, is actually very similar. Her down 2 is like, leaves you, I think, I don't know, like, I think it's like +4. Like it leaves me -4. Like it's actually minus. But it pushes you all the way back and it forces you into crouch. And it pushes you to a distance where there's not really anything you can do to hit me, right? And it puts you at a very set distance. And the beauty of this move is I just do it to see what you'll do. And in my mind, I'm looking. And if you do anything, if you mash while rising 4, if you mash while rising 2, if you press any kind of attack button, hell, if you even sneeze, if you even stand up too quickly, forward 2, I'm gonna launch your ass, right? It's like just to see what you'll do. Just to see what you'll do. And that's me. That's me. That's me. You could argue that's kind of being an asshole too. I'm not interested in stopping you from doing what you want to do. I just want to make you have a cost. Another example is this, again, using Magic the Gathering. I don't like blue players. Even though I play Ling, I don't like blue players, right? Because blue players will straight up counter. They won't let you do a thing. I don't want to stop you from doing a thing. I prefer a card, even though it's a blue card, like Ristic Study, right? Or Smothering Tide, where you can do whatever you want. But if you cast a spell, you owe me, you lose some life points, let's say. Or if you cast a spell, I get some extra energy, right? So it's a sense of like, I don't want to limit your options, like forcefully. I just want to introduce the threat of consequences into your mind so that I'm slowly subverting the way you think. That's my shit. That's where I get off, right? I don't want to hurt you immediately. I want to threaten your future. That's me, bro. That's me. I'm Machiavelli like that. Not today, tomorrow. Okay? That's my shit. But some people ain't got time for that. The Mad Dog ain't got time for that. The Mexican Akuma? No, I'm trying to hit you today. I'm on lunch break. Bat. You'll die today. Okay? That's how it is, right? Then you got the reflexive players, right? Be water. This is a little bit like me too. And what I mean by that is like, I don't really want to have a game style. My game style is destroying your game style, right? So in card games, you might call this a toolbox deck. It doesn't have a dominant strategy of its own. It's all about deconstructing the other person's strategy. So you can say this is similar to the Saboteur. But it's like, I just want to have a tool for every situation. So if you like to fight from long range, I want to have a bunch of tools that allow me to get into close range and keep you there. If you want to fight from close range, I want to have a bunch of tools that allow me to fight from long range, right? That's me. That's why, again, people often say, why do you like Leo? Or why do you play Leo? I like Leo because even though Leo's boring, and they are, they have a tool for every situation. At least they used to. But we'll get to that in a second. But they have a tool for every situation. So I like being able to be like, oh, you want to do X? All right, cool. My entire game plan is now stopping you doing X. Oh, you want to do Y? Okay, my entire game plan is stopping you doing Y. That's the whole thing. That's the whole game plan, right? And again, these are just some of the archetypes I can think off the top of my head. You can probably think of others, right? But like these proclivities, as you've noticed my saying, are not just limited to one type of game. Card games, RPGs, fighting games, any game where two people are trying to overcome one another, the psychology, the philosophy, the method of overcoming another human being is dependent on the kind of person you are, right? And you have proclivities, right? Again, that's why I brought up the Sorting Hat at the beginning. You have a Gryffindor type of player, a Ravenclaw type of player, a Slytherin type of player. These are types of players, and there's infinitely more. These are just the ones I can think of in an afternoon, okay? Now, here's something you have to keep in mind. Different games typically favor different types of players. So, for example, Tekken 7 was really mean to Mad Dogs, okay? If you were a Mad Dog player, you had a hard time Tekken 7 because pushing buttons had consequences. They had weight. So if you really wanted to just be like, I want to push buttons, I want to get in my man's face, you could play that way, but you were at a distinct disadvantage. Meanwhile, if you played conservatively or you were reflexive, it benefited you. Conversely, if you play an anime type game, Mad Dog, very effective, right? And trying to be reflective is probably going to get you blown up, right? So different fighting games tend to favor different types of players. And so very often your preferred type of fighting game will often have a lot to do with how you like to overcome people. I mentioned this in my sort of Virtua Fighter video about different players like different types of problems. Well, this is the other side of that. Different players also like to express themselves differently. But in the ideal fighting game, if such a thing exists, it would be a game where all strategies are equally viable, or at least as close to equally viable as possible. Where the conservative and the Mad Dog both have a shot against each other. Where the asshole and the saboteur both have a shot against each other, right? That would be the ideal. And designing that is a nightmare. Because your game is always going to have some sort of preference, some sort of bias in favor or against one or more style, right? That's just the nature of the beast. But it's useful as a player to know what kind of player are you, right? Good fighting games are like conversations. I don't know if you've ever had this. In fact, actually, poll in the chat real quick, okay? Have you ever, I mean, it's hard to do in the games that force you to do best of 3, right? But have you ever fought against someone and been like, I really enjoyed playing against this person. I really like the way this guy plays. Whether you won or lost, you're like, I like the way this guy plays. The way this person plays is like pleasant, right? I definitely had that. And I had that a lot in Tekken 7 because you could have long sets, right? So you could play against that person for a really long time. Be like, man, I like this guy's decisions. I like, in Tekken, no, never. Interesting. In Tekken 7, my beloved. Yeah, Tekken 7, you could, but you could have long sets. But in Tester 3, very seldom. I've had a couple though. I've had a couple. Like this guy, I like this guy's choices. Yes, the other day, in fact. There you go. It happens sometimes. It happens. Never with you though. Yeah, not with you, Hades, because you drop your combos though. So you know, I'm like this fucking guy. Yeah, almost always in long sets because it takes a while to collect the data, right? You only really get a sense of a person's personality when you have a conversation with them for a long time. And best is too quick, right? Tekken 7 getting old enough for people to get nostalgic over the game with Akuma and Marduk. Bro, look, when we talk about Tekken 7, we're psychologically excluding Marduk, okay? Relax, and Kuning for that matter. But yeah, good fighting games are like conversations. And you can often, like I said, like I've sort of alluded to, very often you do get a sense of a person's personality. Like this person plays like an asshole. This person is way too risky. Or this person is a fucking mad dog, right? Or this person's like too smart for his own, he's not as smart as he thinks he is, right? Or this person's just waiting for me to do something to kill me, right? You get a sense of people's personalities when you play against them for a long period of time. Learning your character's mind games. So I think it's important when you are trying to learn a new character to figure out what it is, what mind game it is they're trying to play. Tekken 8, yes, until you realize you die for making the right reads when the best decision. Okay, that's a separate thing. Like I already kind of alluded to, different games reward different things. Tekken 7 rewarded patience and kind of punished the mad dog. And to be fair to them, Tekken 8 punishes patience and rewards the mad dog. It is what it is, right? It's kind of why Speedkicks, who is one of the players I respect the most, he had no time for Tekken 7. He really didn't like Tekken 7. And he seems to really enjoy Tekken 8. And I'm like, all right, this is clearly what you wanted. Typical Harang player, I guess. But for me, it's not what I want. But it doesn't necessarily make the game bad. It just makes it different, right? I think the problem I have with Tekken 8, if we're really going into it, is the fact that I think it is overly rewarding to, mad dog playstyle and overly punishing to reactive playstyle. But getting the balance right is always going to be difficult, right? Okay, so learning the character's mind game. So Tekken is, I don't know how to pronounce it. Sansukumi? I don't know. I just know it as the neutral triangle. And in most fighting games, this is actually one of the fundamental sort of mind games that exist. For those of you who haven't experienced it, for those of you who haven't heard of this or seen it explained, I'll link to a couple of videos explaining it. But essentially, the idea is that when you're in neutral, right, there are kind of three approaches, and there's kind of a rock, paper, scissors between all three of them, right? On one hand, you have, let's say, rush down. I want to get in your face, blow you up, bang. I want to get down, just beat you up, rush down, mad dog style, right? No explanation needed. We all know what the fuck rush down is, okay? But then you have keep out, okay? Keep out typically beats rush down. When I know you're going to come at me, I'm just going to throw out dangerous, like barbed wire moves that if you run into, you just die, right? So keep out typically beats rush down, right? So this is, so we're starting to beat the rock, paper, scissors. But then how do you beat keep out? Well, the way you beat keep out is by pretending you're going to rush down and then stepping back. And then when the opponent throws out their keep out move, you whiff punish them, bang. So whiff punishing beats keep out, right? Then how do you beat whiff punishing, right? Well, that whiff punisher is obviously sitting there waiting for you to whiff a move so they can punish. So then you run in, hit him in the face, right? So rush down beats whiff punishing beats keep out beats rush down, right? This is like a classic triangle. Again, other videos have explained this better. I'll link to a couple of them in the description. This is a classic mental game. And again, similarly, you as a player might want to figure out, okay, which of these do I prefer? Because you can't just play one, right? Typically, you're going to have a favored one, and you'll need to know you need to have some strength at the others, right? And for me personally, I like to, part of the reason why I like Leo, again, historically, is because Leo isn't the best at any of them, okay? Leo's not the best at any of them, but Leo's good at all of them. So, if I'm against someone who is weak to rush down, I'm going to rush him down. Leo's not the best rush down character, but they can rush you down, right? If I'm playing against someone who's weak to whiff punishing, I'll whiff punish you. Not the best whiff punishing character, that down forward 2 is pretty clutch and has some pretty good options, right? So I'll kill you there. If you're someone who dies to keep out, I'll do my keep out options, right? So typically that was always Leo's thing. Not the best at anything, but good enough at everything that I could find where you're weak and hit you with it, right? In my opinion, Tekken 8 kind of broke the triangle. One of these three is significantly stronger than the other two. One of these three is significantly stronger than the other two. Can you think about which one? Can you think about which one of these would you say is the strongest? It's keep out. It's keep out. Shimpy, it's keep out. You think it's keep out, Shimpy? All right, cool. You think it's keep out? All right, interesting. Very interesting. I don't think it's keep out, boys and girls. I don't think it's keep out. I think the strongest of these is rushdown. I think rushdown is significantly stronger than the others. And again, having strong rushdown isn't an issue. So long as keep out is also strong. But like, what keep out moves are there? Like, what keep out moves are there that are really prominent in this game? Like, even when you're watching the Tekken World Tour, what keep out moves are really prominent? I feel like the only I can name the really strong keep out moves on like one hand. I think there's like Asuka back 3, still pretty strong, right? I think Lee's sort of silver heel, pretty good, right? Clive forward 1+2. Clive's forward 1+2 does everything. All right, it does everything. It does literally everything. It's offense, it's defense, it does your taxes, does your dishes, does your laundry, does everything. Okay. But I genuinely think like one of the big issues I have is that Tekken, like a lot of fighting games, kind of the core mind game upon which all other mind games sit has been this triangle. But it is very much kind of broken. And also, when you think about heat's very interesting, because what happens when you heat someone with a heat engager? When I hit you with a heat engager, the game forces my character to run into your character, right? Like the game is very much trying to keep the fight here. So even if I'm playing a character who wants to do keep out, if I happen to hit you with a good keep out tool, the game goes, boom, take this +17, +17 and run into the character's face so you're right here. And so again, thinking about what I said before, different players, different styles. Even if you have a preference for the other two elements of this triangle, if your character isn't good at rushdown, you're kind of dead. Do you know what I mean? You're kind of dead. There's only really one playstyle. And this is kind of why I felt, again, maybe let me know in the chat if you felt differently, but when I was watching the Tekken World Tour, I dipped in every once in a while. I'm like, I know intellectually these players are the best in the world. But like, I'm not seeing their personalities come through at all. They're all kind of playing the same. High level of proficiency, but I feel like they're all playing the same. And that's a real bummer. It's all rushdown. And it's, they always say styles makes fights. If everyone's doing the same element of the triangle and just trying to work out, okay, who does it better? I don't know. I feel like it kind of sucks. It kind of sucks. And you mentioned something there, Honest, that FDX talked about how he had to learn to be more aggressive. This is a really good point. This is something that I've dealt with, but more importantly, a lot of high-ranking players that I've respected dealt with too. Historically, I didn't have to play one style, right? If I preferred keep out, I could make keep out work. If I preferred whiff punishing, I could make whiff punishing work and pick a character specialized in. But in Tekken 8, like you said, you have to be more aggressive. You have to have, in your sort of like, triangle chart, you need to have rushdown be pretty strong. Like you just do, right? And that's a real issue, I think. That's a real issue. Because again, what if you're not a mad dog gamer, right? What if that's not your style? What if you're a saboteur? Well, you kind of have two options, right? You can either drop that shit and try to become more of a mad dog person, because that's the kind of game that's the only style that's rewarded, or one of the biggest styles that's rewarded. Or you play a different game, right? Those are kind of your options. Or keep playing and lose, right? And like, so for example, like one of the players I admire the most is like A.O. Ritchie, right? He's like the premier Leo competitor. And it's been really fun watching him try to figure out, okay, how do I make Leo work? Because he's super loyal to the character. Like, I'm not changing the character. So I must change. Like, I'll change myself, right? You have two options. You can change the character or change myself. You're like, I will change myself. I'm so loyal to Leo, I will change myself. And I'll try to play completely different. But like, trying to play Leo in a rushdown only game is dumb. Like, just play a character who's better at that style, right? Leo's thing was always that they want the best at anything. But whatever they were weak at, they could lean on the other styles. But if the other styles have been capped at a system level, it's kind of tricky, And I don't know if what I'm saying is making sense, because this is less of a guide video. This is less about watch this and you'll be better at X. I think I'm more just trying to illustrate some of my deeper thoughts about the direction of the game, and also just fighting games in general. But I do think that Tekken historically has had the classic sort of keep out, rush down with punishing triangle, and that triangle has been fundamentally eroded, and it's been difficult. It's been really difficult. But I want to talk about other. I want to talk about other mind games, because there are other mind games that are also interesting in the game that are not the keep out, rush down, and whip punch. I've been having a lot of fun with Feng, and I want to show you some of the elements that I find very interesting. So we're gonna switch to the game. Let's play the game. Let's go. Fucking go. Alright. Yeah, very kind using the word eroded. Lol. I'm trying to be diplomatic. Trying to get my Chipotle deal. Let's see. Sorry. So for me personally, this is not a mind game. Like sidestep into sidestep 4 or sidestep into down forward 3. That's not a mind game. That's just a 50-50. There's nothing clever about this. I really like this shit. I love this. This is such horse shit, right? For those of you who don't know, this string is 3-3-4, right? And I can finish the string, and if you block it, you can kill me, right? In fact, you know what? It'll be easier if I just show you, if I just have Feng on Feng violence. You can fuzzy it though. You can fuzzy it. You can fuzzy it, absolutely. I'll get to that.
Get ready for the next battle.
Okay. So let's have Feng do let's have Feng do so we have this, right? So obviously you can low parry it, you can block, hop kick in the back, right? You can kill him, right? But you have the low. But what's interesting is you can't hop kick, right? You can't just hop kick, okay? But the thing is, Feng can also just do this. Oh wait, not that. Lol. Into nothing, right? So if you sit there waiting for the low to come, you've just let him go into back turned in your face. So now you're kind of immediately put into another mix. Okay? Right? And Feng's back turn mix is very scary. One of my favorite things to do to people, this is fucking disgusting, is oh wait, no. Hold on, how do you do it? Oh yeah. That is, let me tell you something. Let me tell you, Supreme Kazushi, if you're in the chat, you're an asshole. He hit me with this so many times. You block this, and you flash stuck the load, right? But then the load doesn't come, okay? The load doesn't come. So then you stand back up, only to get hit by the low sweep? Bro, there's nothing more tilting than that. Right? There's nothing more tilting than that. The psychological damage on this is fucking gross. Right? So I go, oh, stand back up, get hit. Fuck you. Disgusting. But then you also have, of course, into the mid, right? Safe mid, by the way. Safe mid, by the way. Safe mid, by the way, right? Right? You also have the power crush if you think that they're going to try and push a button in between. Right? Fucking gross. Right? Fucking annoying, right? And if they're in heat, they can heat dash it. Disgusting, right? You've also got the fucking into grab. Why not? Right? Why not? Good damage on the grab, right? Point is, there's options that come out of it. But here's the best bit. You can't just do this. Nothing. There's nothing. Maybe you're thinking, well, sure you duck the high. You can't duck the high, trailing. You can't duck the high, trailing. This is fucked up. I love this. This move is a simple string that opens up tons of directions that they go. It's not just a 50-50. It's like, it's way more dynamic than that, right? So for me, this is actually one of the, again, this isn't top tier. I'm not saying you're going to go to Evo with this. This is very subtle, right? But like, this is fucking wild. Like, you're immediately putting your opponent on a bit of a psychological clock. Right? And a lot of the time, they have to decide, I don't think he's going to finish it. I don't think he's going to finish it. I think he's going to go into some bullshit. So maybe you just go, and then the second he does that, you go for a hop kick or whatever. But of course, if I just do this, and I block whatever comes next, you die, right? Well, not necessarily die, but you get punished. Like, this opens up so many avenues. And I find this to be just a really, really interesting mind game, right? I do think it's a really interesting mind game. And I actually really enjoy Feng for this. Another interesting mind game, I think, is this one. 4-3. Also 3 charged 1+2. Oh yeah, that's separate. Yeah, that's another one. We're gonna look at that in a second. But like, I also like this, right? Right? Because if I hit you, okay, launch, safe launch. Hold that, right? But let's say my man here blocks it, okay? Let's say my man here successfully blocks it. Right? Oh, fuck. I should maybe have him block it. Okay? I am -5, so I'm technically safe. But like, there have been times where I've done this. I've done this, maybe whiffed it and blocked it, and then immediately gone for the sweep. Which again, it's fucked up. So you see this whiff. You come in thinking it's my turn, only to get hit by that sweep. Fucked up. So if he whiffs this in your face, what are you gonna do? If you try and go for a whiff punish, and I hold down back, I've created a lot of space. I've added a lot of space. A deceptive amount of space. So I do this, you come to a whiff punish you with your forward 4-2, you whiff, I kill you. This move is really good. And I don't use it enough, but I love it. I think it's really clever. I think this move's really clever. Super, super clever. And there are a lot of characters who have interesting, what I think are really interesting mind games, and I like it. And I encourage you, no matter what character whatever character you play, try and figure out what your character's mind games are. Oh, a new player getting into the game, trying to learn movement to punish, but I can't stop their movement, and you point me in the right direction. All right, we'll talk after. We'll talk after the video. We don't talk about Feng's down forward 4, back Kempo. I mean, look, what are you talking about? Look, I like keep out. I'm sorry. I'm trying to make keep out work. This is pretty good for keep out. Backdash into back Kempo? Why the fuck not? Right? Why the fuck not? Right? Same with this, right? Snake dash. This snake dash is fucked up. Snake dash is so fucked up. Right? You got low, mid, standard, right? Standard snake stuff. Empty snake, disgusting. I am only now, because I'm playing against higher caliber players with Feng Wei, learning the power of empty snake. Because they just sit there waiting for something to come. You just go, grab, just whoop, whoop, right? Just fucking, just snake up into safe launcher, grab. Empty snake is nasty work. Double snake. I love it. It's the mind games are possible. And if you want to bet big, right? Because it's not just the safe mid and the, you know, not too big low. You can just be like, fuck it. We're going big. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's kind of crazy. This character is fucked up. This character is fucked up. Another one of my favorite mind games. Again, this is where I lose the whole chat. This is where I lose everyone. Everyone's gonna be like, fuck you. I disagree. This is one of my favorite mind games. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I love Hypnotist Mix. I do. The non-heat version. The heat version's too much. The non-heat version, I fucking love Hypnotist Mix. I think it's godlike. I think it's godlike. I think it's amazing. I think it's so good. You have to guess, right? You have to guess, right? And here's the thing. I think this is fine because, like, look, ooh, you take how much damage? 20 damage, whatever. Why you like this? I'll show you why I'm like this, okay? Look. 20 damage, not that bad. Not that bad. But what if I want to be brave, though? What if I want to walk a little bit longer? And then go for the sweep, right? Or what if I want to be mid-brave? Go for the low. I like the fact that it's not just mid-low. It's mid-low, fast-low. So when you block this, you have to work out what kind of asshole am I? Am I just going to be conservative? How am I feeling today? Conservative? All right, cool. Immediate low, immediate mid. Whatever, right? Not that much. But like, if I think you're going to be a little bit too patient, I can be like, maybe risk it. Go for the big mid. Now I'm +9. Go for the big low, right? I love that. I think this is peak design. I know people hate it, but the motherfuckers are out here complaining that's gone when it's different. When you're in heat, it's too much. It's too much. Exactly. That's my point. I don't like the heat version. The heat version is disgusting. And I hate the fact that people talk about Hypnotist Mix as a whole as being terrible because of the heat version. But outside of heat, this shit is good. This shit is good. I'm sorry. This is good design. This is good design. This is good design. I just love it. I just love it. It's really good. It's really good. And on Oki too. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? If I get you in the air I get you in the air. All right, I get you in the air. I just go like this. What do you want to do? Stay down, man. Stay down. You know what I mean? I'm a big fan of the mind game. But the point is, I like the characters I like, so I think they have interesting mind games. I think whatever character you play, instead of relying on just mix-ups, which I think we all do to some extent, it would be useful to think about what are your characters' mind games. And I actually wouldn't mind if some of you in the chat or in the comments on when it's on YouTube point down, hey, can you go 20 minutes without Glazing Xiaoyu? I think she's well designed outside of Heat. I'm sorry, I just do. But I think, let me know in the comments your character's favorite mind game. But it's worth thinking about it. And the reason why I'm making this video and why I've had mind games on my mind is because I'm now going to go and try and play Virtua Fighter, right? And I've decided I'm going to play Lei. And I've realized that one of the best ways to try and understand a character is try to understand what is their mind game. What is the pressure situation they put their opponent in and force them to have to think about, right? And again, like I said in my last video, there aren't really any guys that kind of think in these terms or put them in these terms. I'm sure there probably have been written, and in Japanese they almost certainly are. But like, I'm trying to think out, okay, what's a Sarah mind game, right? Because Sarah has a flamingo mix, kind of like Oran, right? So understanding the mind game that she wants to put opponents in is a very good chance, is a very good way of trying to understand what Sarah's about. And trying to understand what mind games Lei wants to do, it's a very good chance of understanding Lei. And that's kind of, yeah, something I think about. So if you're a Virtua Fighter player, in the business of making guides, it'd be useful to kind of document not just like, the standard tools, but also what is their mind game, right? How does your character make other players worry? What do they have to make them worried about? But yeah, I'm rambling now. I want to go back to the presentation. What's that? Okay. What's interesting is that Virtua Fighter, of course, has its own triangle, right? Because Virtua Fighter doesn't really have the same keep out, rush down, whiff punish type thing. Yes, there is whiff punishing, of course, and there are threatening hitboxes you can put out at range as keep out. But the game is fundamentally designed to be up close. And I said this briefly in my other video that Tekken 8 seems to be trying to capture what VF does because it wants to keep the game in close, but it wasn't designed for that. So it's kind of caught between two worlds. And I think the best example I can give you is tracking throws, right? So throws track in Virtua Fighter. But this makes sense because throws are blown up by strikes, right? So the implementation of tracking throws makes sense in that game, right? But that same thing in Tekken does not fucking work. It doesn't fucking work. The game's not designed for that, right? And so I can understand how a bunch of designers thought it would be cool to borrow that from Virtua Fighter. But very quickly it was realized, no, we'd have to change a lot because we don't have the same triangle that they do. There are things you can do in one game that are very obnoxious in another game. Another example I want you to think about is the invincible DP, right? And Lei Fei's mind game is he switches between stances and confuses you and dares you to hit him, and when you do, he'll Sabaki, avoid built-in evasion, auto reversal. Right. I get that, right? Keep in mind, attacks do not beat throws if they are -10. Yeah, of course. You have to be in the startup of your throw, right? Throws come out in 10 frames. So yes, you have to be in startup. Throws come out in 10 frames. So if you're -10, the throw is guaranteed. I get that, yes. But, what was I saying? Yes, forced 50-50s in a game like Street Fighter can make sense. You know why? Because there's a lot of characters who have invincible DPs, right? They have moves that will blow through the strike. And so this kind of allows you to break that up. But turning Tekken into a sort of a forced 50-50 game without there being the sort of concept of a EXDP is way more obnoxious. Similarly, having throws track in a game where strikes don't automatically beat throws is a terrible idea, right? So I do feel that like Virtua Fighter is true to its own triangle, right? It was designed with its rules in mind. And I think that, like I said earlier on, Tekken is intentionally trying to break its triangle to be something different, which it's allowed to do. But it's caught between two worlds. Because it has a bunch of characters and a bunch of moves who are balanced around, Sansukimi? I don't know how to say it. But they were balanced around the classic keep out, rush down with punishing. But then they've destroyed that triangle. So now everything feels a little bit lopsided. And I do think that like now Tekken is in this weird spot where it has to decide what it wants to be. If it wants to remain true to its classic identity, then it does need to do stuff that what you guys have been mentioning in the chat. Buffing sidestepping, reducing the obnoxious range on the hitboxing, right? But it doesn't have to do that. Or it can be like, no, we want this to be an up-close fighter. But in that case, you have to make a lot of different changes, really fundamental changes. That would probably bring you closer to VF. And again, it's been really eye-opening to me playing VF. Just because it generally seems to me that Tekken 8 is trying to do what VF does, but it is held back by its Tekken-ness. And it's like, it's caught between two paths. I can see a version of Tekken that succeeds in what it's trying to do, but this isn't it. And right now, it's sort of on the bridge where it has to pick a side. It needs to become more Tekken or more Virtua Fighter. And right now, it's the worst of both worlds. And I'm really curious as to what's going to happen. And I think what they really need to do is they have to figure out what kind of mind game they want it to be. What do they want the fundamental problem to be? What's EX Invincible DP? Dragon Punch? Yes, Dragon Punch. Yes. Yeah. So yeah, these are my thoughts. This is just me yapping. This is not a watch this and you get better at it. This is just I've been thinking a lot. VF has really opened my eyes to 3D fighting in general. Similar to how like I only really realized how dumb English was when I started to learn Chinese. And you go, oh wow, yeah, our language is really dumb. But you also realize like, wow, I really love the alphabet. Alphabets are really good, guys. Learning a language that doesn't have a straight up alphabet, you realize how good the alphabet is. And it's been very interesting. It's been very interesting to me. And yeah, I'm curious to know what your thoughts are about sort of the direction of travel, but also just about what direction you want the game to be more like. And yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say is make Keep Out great again, because that's Tekken, right? Make Keep Out great again. Make Whiff Punching great again. And if you don't want to do that, then you have to make a lot more changes than just Tekken without Keep Out and Whiff Punching. And then that's just bad Tekken, I feel like. But yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, those are my thoughts. Hopefully they've been useful. It's a shorter chat talk than usual. I might not even post it to YouTube, to be fair, because I really just want to share my thoughts with you. But we'll see. And always, thanks for being here. Be sure to hit like and subscribe. Also, fuck VF Reddit. Had to be done. And yeah, until next time, everyone. Peace.